on into the game, but I really think it's an awesome opportunity to get a little bit more personal interaction with the pros themselves. So going on to the game without further ado. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. I'm Blaze, bringing you guys a game between TeamLiquid and Absolute Legends. This is a pretty interesting series thus far, but we're finally moving on into Game 3. 1-1, both teams picking up wins on the previous games, and now we're moving on into this next one here. Looks, if I remember correctly, Dire has the first pick, as before. No, it's actually Radiant. Sorry about that. So, pretty much this is similar to the way TeamLiquid has been drafting the whole time. TeamLiquid does have first pick here, but the fact that they do not want to pick up a first pick gyrocopter implies that they are going to ban it out. They think that Keeper Light, Nyx Assassin, Wisp, those supports, even Shadow Demon, is really considered top tier to a point that they cannot neglect a first pick without one of them. They want to be able to substantiate their lanes more effectively. Sometimes Batrider works out nicely too, but anyways, the idea there is Gyrocopter is a great hero. It's great enough for them not to want to face it if they're not willing to first pick it, and in this case, that is exactly what's going on. So we'll have to see. Last time around, we actually saw Lone Druid picked up really early on, and we saw that aggressive tri lane, but it just didn't pan out long term. They put out so much pressure, and one thing to mention is it wasn't a tri lane at all. They put Rise down there, or sorry, no, they put Fluff down there for a little bit on the Disruptor to help ward and skirmish in the jungle, but after the fact it was actually more of a 2-1-2. And in that situation you have a 2.5 with a Chen in jungle, stacking up Sentry Wards, Troll Summoner all over the place, and staring up on the Shikuchi of the Weaver. Bulba got locked down. He got locked down hard, to the point that he would honestly be considered feeding. He didn't get his time-lapse forever, and he couldn't really get big farm to back him up. Good money on the supports, allowed them push aggressively early, mechs up, so on and so forth, and from there, when the racks fell, they knew it was it and called GG. Now, interesting banning phase coming on through here. Because they banned out the Gyrocopter and the Batrider, Absolute Legends had to choose between those three top-tier supports, the Nyx Assassin, the Keeper Light, the Wisp. Well, guess who got through? Guardian Wisp. Very interesting hero, and AL must feel a little bit pressured to pick up that Chaos Knight to counteract that synergy, but the one thing about Wisp is he has so many different guys that he can rely on. You can go with a Sven, a Lifestealer, a Tiny, so many great carries that are strength-based that can coincide very effectively with this little glowy blue ball of light. So interesting action here, but I can't wait to see what they come up with. Absolute Legends going to be drafting up a Magnus and a Rubik to start off. It's interesting to pick up the Rubik here. The Magnus is pretty standard, but the Rubik actually can't do too much against the Wisp at all. He can spell steal either the Spirits or any of the other abilities, but if it's not the Spirits, if it's a Tether, if it's a Relocate, an Overcharge, those things are worthless on Rubik, generally speaking. They don't provide the benefit to an ally because you can't have the Tether and the Stolen ability at the same time. So CK does get picked up. TC's run this multiple times over. It works so darn well. And we're going to have this combo, and it's just going to be how Absolute Legends responds to it. One interesting counterpick is a Disruptor. Can glimpse back in somebody that relocates on forward. But I'm curious to see if that's going to be it at all, if they're going to work out that way. Let me double check and make sure everything's smooth. Yeah, just talking about what we've been talking about all day, which is those ping issues. Ugh. Not my favorite subject. Not something I would go on and on about. I have my opinions, but in this situation, we're sitting in US East. It was a lot of discussion back and forth, and that's what we just felt would be the most appropriate in that circumstance there. So, yeah, I guess since we're waiting for the pick, I will kind of say two sentences about it. Essentially, it's the situation of if one team has significantly more disadvantage on the enemy team's server compared to the enemy team having the disadvantage on the other server. Obviously, there's always going to be one server that has a better situation for one team and a lesser situation for the other, so on and so forth. But in this situation, if one team has so much more of a disadvantage, it's increased that much more, then it adds up, and it's not exactly right to just go bounce back and forth and then have them possibly be playing 2/3 of the games on an enemy server. It doesn't work out that well. So in this situation, TeamLiquid having more Western Pacific Coast teams, it just seemed more appropriate to actually give them the final game in the USC situation. There's been a lot of posts on it. TeamLiquid forums, you can check it out there. I mean, Reddit. I mean, there's been a lot of back and forth. This is an age-old topic, and until they put something on like a server on Iceland or some other random island in the middle of the ocean that somehow bridges internet connections, it's not really going to be an option. It's just a technical limitation, and until then, that's going to be a disadvantage one way or another. So, yeah, I hate to see all the hate back and forth about it. In the end, it's just a game, and it's not going to make or break anything or everything, but it is a preference, and I understand why. Either way, moving on forward with that being my last word on that topic. We do see the Clockwork picked up once again for Bulba, going to be running it on the off lane. Presumably that means Wisp CK would be on bottom, but we've seen multiple times over, using the opportunity for Radiant mid pulls, that Wisp and CK can go on mid. One thing to note in a recent patch note change, however, which I'm almost positive switches over to the tournament version just as much as the latest, is the fact that the easy camp isn't nearly as easy to pull. You have to break down literally every tree in between, and in some cases I think it might not even be for all camps. It might be the range camps and the ones with the kobold, it's not a taskmaster, but foreman or whatever. I don't know, it's so much more difficult that it may not be something that TeamLiquid considers reliable at this stage. Either way, moving on forward, Absolute Legends picks up the Nature's Prophet. A lot of global presence, a lot of really, really good response to Wisp. The fact is, if they start ganking on somebody other than the NP, then the Nature's Prophet can be there within seconds. See the ping on the blip on the minimap, say that's the danger zone, jump on into it and lend a hand. Lend some trends and try to actually come out on top of that exchange. So it's a good counter initiation mechanism, and if the Magnus can pick up a blink, he can really have that range of threat presence as well. Either way, bans have been going back and forth, taking off Korok's Storm Spirit and Puck, and from here we also see Fluff's Enchantress and Chen taken out, as well as I kind of messed that up. Fluff and Stuff banning out the Chen Enchantress so that Mania can't be looking at that option himself, or Rise for that matter. He played a great Chen last time around, like so much push, and so combining the Trents with the controlled neutrals, Rise could easily be putting out that pressure there. Either way, I think it's going to be Miggle running on the Nature's Prophet, but he's been seeing a lot of mid lane today, and again, I think that might be a little bit of a shift of roles, a little bit back and forth. Either way, we do see Lifestealer banned out as well by TeamLiquid, just seeing as that as kind of a thorn in their side. Even with the Clockwork on board, they just don't feel comfortable with not being able to 4-second stun the enemy carry. That kind of seems a little bit snobbish as I say it, but you know, if you have that 4-second stun utility, you want to be able to use it, and I think that taking a lifesteal off the board so they have to buy a BKB for it or pick up a Juggernaut is going to be appropriate here. Alrighty then. So what we're going to be looking at here, the Queen of Pain is going to be banned out for Absolute Legends, taking off that last kind of Korok trifecta. From there, TeamLiquid has less options to go for the mid, but they end up picking up the Shadow Fiend, and this is going to get wild. Shadow Fiend is one of those heroes that has so much potential if you don't lock him down, but is the easiest hero in the game to shut down. Before he picks up his ultimate especially, every time you kill him, he suffers worse than anybody else. He loses his gold, he loses time to farm up and get good experience for higher damage raises, and most importantly, those Necromastery charges. He works so hard to build them up, and you just cut off half of them like that. It's so very effective, it's so very dangerous, and if AL starts going for a roaming lineup, they can really, really frustrate what's going on with the Shadow Fiend, which will presumably be on mid lane, but I have seen it safe laned a couple of times over. Either way, I'm excited to see it come out. I'm just curious how it's going to really fit into their lineup, beyond the fact that Presence of the Dark Lord is a kick-ass reduction of the armor. It's really just making sure that CK can dish out tons of damage with its Phantasms, its Chaos Strike, and that Reality Rift all combined together for kind of a one-hit KO, and we'll see from there. The final pick that TeamLiquid's going to be looking to kind of round out their lineup here is got to be some kind of range support. They've got the Wisp, they've got the CK, they've got the Clock and the Shadow Fiend, so that covers up their top lane, their mid lane one way or another. Now they have to have something that will be supportive, but also mobile. They have this kind of range of initiation type thing. Long range raises are actually pretty solid, like 800 or something like that. And the Clockwork, able to be jumping in and jumping into the fray quickly, along with the CK and Wisp. I think they really want something that either A, can split push, or B, can have a long range of initiation. With the Storm taken out, obviously they opted for the Shadow Fiend, and I'm curious to see how it plays out, but I love Absolute Legends picking up this bounty. Picking up a hero that thrives so much on getting those kills, it gives them the right mental state. They're like, okay, well, this game counts. This game is Game 3, going to decide the match. We are 100% objective is to shut down Shadow Fiend this game as hard as we shut down Bulba last game. And if they have a track as an extra incentive on that with the Bounty Hunter, it's going to be monstrous. It's going to be a nightmare for Shadow Fiend. He's like a walking nightmare, but in this situation, the gank potential from a aggressive Nature's Prophet teleporting in, a couple of early skewers from Magnus, and on top of that, the Bounty Hunter trying to roam as soon as he hits 6 to get some kills. I think that they could really, really pull this one out very effectively. But a nice support that if they go a little bit over aggressive is going to make them pay for it is going to be this Visage. Has the potential. We're not really going to talk about his familiars, as I think the laning phase is going to be most important, and Visage does take his time moving up to that ultimate. But as far as the burst of the Soul Assumption and the Grave Chill, with his potential to slow somebody down, chase them up, or prevent them from diving as extensively. If they start committing to a tower dive and then you Grave Chill them, even if they turn around 1 second later, it's already too late. The Bounty Hunter or whoever is going to be caught out and have a bad time. So I think it's a really great hero. It'll work very well in the laning phase, and most importantly, it'll make sure that they can transition in very, very nicely. But I think I might have gotten the lanes wrong to an extent. I don't know. The last laning situation I got wrong because of the fact that Disruptor kind of abandoned Bulba down on bottom, and I do see the Juggernaut picked up, which I mentioned a little bit as far as not being as susceptible to that Chaos Bolt. But anyways, what I could easily see Team Liquid doing, and I don't know if this is accurate, but see TC on the Chaos Knight, Visage on the, Fluff on the Visage, and Ix Mike on the Wisp, all three going on the top lane. It's ballsy because the Wisp doesn't really have that reliable of setup, but the CK, as long as he has mana, can kind of make up for that. Either way, if Bulba wanted to go mid-Clockwork and Korok go safe lane Shadow Fiend, I think they could actually put some good pressure out on top lane and guarantee the Shadow Fiend's safety. But it might just cost them the potential for Wisp and CK to get those levels early. Being in an aggressive tri lane, you have to get kills, or suddenly your experience is all being spread out across 3 different heroes, and your relocates are going to be at a very delayed point in time, where Miggle will have enough scary right-click damage to deter you from actually jumping in on anything. So this will be interesting. This will be very interesting indeed. But yeah, I think we're raring to go. Starting things off, they want to actually get some wards up in the enemy jungle. TC and Ix Mike, buddy, actually breaking each other's hearts as they walk their different ways. But no, Ix Mike gonna go up and get a little bit of boost from the tether to try to get into this ward zone really quickly. Drop some wards into interesting places to try to negate this pull. And if they can accomplish that, it's going to be setting them up nicely. Along with that, they have a really powerful level 1 team fight. With the even Clockwork Rockets to scout out what's coming forth, TC and his Chaos Bolt, he just has to roll a 2. It's kind of a flip of a coin, and in this situation, if he gets a 2-second stun, he can easily pick off this Rubik here. Rise in a desperately bad spot, but does have enough vision due to the daytime start. So, seeing that come on through. Nothing really going to happen now, but starting off with this ward, it shows they want to go aggressive. This has full tabs of what's going on for them pulling, as well as anybody making a move down towards the south. What this means is there's not going to be that much as far as ganking in from mid. You can still see that patch there. But pretty much it gives a lot of safety and security to whoever's going to be up on the top lane, knowing where the enemy is and knowing when to put that aggression out. And it looks like this is actually close to the lanes. They're actually going to give Korok still the mid lane because they feel that he can contest this Magnus more directly. Miracle going up against Korok once more. It's kind of an age-old matchup there, a little bit back and forth, but we do see Bulba going to go 1v1 versus Mania. Both these are actually going to be really, really good at what they intend, and I think the real question is whether or not Bulba's going to be able to get a lot of cogs to drain out Bounty Hunter's mana. If you can drain him out without having to put out any sentry wards, it's going to put Mania in a worse position. Already pinging things out. He knows the Creep Equilibrium is going to be out here, and he's kind of just going to have to find that as something he's going to have to work with. Starting thing off, the first thing is Shadow Fiend getting up an early Necromastery charge. If he can get that early enough, he's going to be able to control this lane decently with last hits, but so far, no good. Miracle making sure he's going to shut him down, but finally gets one. And that damage bonus, getting 2 damage every single time he last hits, is going to build him up so that eventually it's impossible to stop him. As far as creep score goes, anyways. Now, this pressure up on the top lane is going to be an interesting interaction. Again, the Wisp doesn't put that much to the tri-lane without a Tiny to toss him in, but the CK makes up for that. As long as he has enough mana, they can make things work here very effectively where TC can get a pick off on Rise. Starting off on the Unicorn, they actually force out the spin, go instead on Rise. He is level 2, going for the, big soul something, the Chaos Bolt will follow. TC gonna get, Ice Mike getting the first blood out of it because it just didn't get enough damage. But that's the chaotic nature of CK, and in the end, they still pick up the kill. The one thing to note, is Miguel is not contributing to this lane at all, and he won't be able to. I mean, all he can contribute is a couple of auto attacks, but when you have these giant stuns being thrown around, as well as giant soul assumption damage, it's really, really putting him in an awkward position. Nice clarity from IX Mike, tethering it up so TC will be full on mana as well, and they're raring to go for their next engagement. Unicorn commits a lot to every single Blade Fairy throws on out. And we do see also Rise having to make that long walk of shame back to the lane without any TP. Now we do see the initiation on Unicorn. The stun comes on through, but not fast enough for them to get the Chaos Bolt onto the spin. IX Mike taking too much damage, will drop down, and now Fluff will turn around, and it looks like it's going to be an easy kill for just about both of them. Visage actually taking the credit himself, but not a big deal. Back on towards the mid lane, Korok really suiting up nicely. He's going to go up towards 9 and 4, now 10 last hits, and he's going to be able to dish out a lot of damage to Miracle just from some easy right clicks. He's in a great spot, and as far as runes go, he sees it up top. He's going to claim that for himself, and double damage, putting him in a really nice spot. Looks like Miguel is going to be going for Basilius early on. Could do some pushing, but really, I think they really need to actually respond more directly to the constant skirmishes that are going up on the top lane, which Unicorn and Rise alone cannot really come out on top of. Bulba moving in towards Boots. Really, this bottom lane is going to be relatively boring unless one of them either makes a big mistake or the other one makes a gigantic play. Like, it's not really an easy opportunity to bring either one of these heroes down. So although they can poke and prod, harass them back, and we see Bounty Hunter doing a little bit more with 13 CS, it's just not going to be as effective as it needs to be. Unfortunately for TeamLiquid, they pulled a range creep out of position there, so Miguel knows exactly what's going on, and he's in a good position that if they came down the southern exit, they generally wouldn't be able to close the distance. TC has rank 1 Reality Rift, and its range, although insane later on, isn't that substantial at the moment. Now going in, they want to go on to Rise. They have move speed advantage, but the telekinesis comes up. He's taking damage from the tower. He goes on to Unicorn, but just gets spun on down. Too much damage with that Fade Bolt means a full turnaround, 2 versus 3. Now going on to IX Mike, but at least we'll get the Grave Chill to follow up. Some spirits, possibly a Soul Assumption now. Just gonna walk away, but CK getting dropped down. Very unfortunate for him. He immediately TPs back up to try to keep that pressure rolling, but I gotta say, that timing from Rise couldn't have been more perfect. Interrupts the Tether Reality Rift. Oh, Unicorn's completely shut down here, even with the telekinesis. Anyways, TC going underneath the tower, and the timing that he was just casting the Reality Rift being sped up by the Wisp Tether, including the fact that he's 375 base because of these boots of speed. It's ridiculous, his movement speed, compared to a 290 Rubik. Yeah, 449 versus 290. But anyways, Rise, perfect timing. The tower was attacking the CK. He got overconfident. He went for the reality and instead got telekinesis up, and that was enough time for Unicorn to turn it around. So good play by them, and they got a kill where they generally shouldn't have. But in the end, it's still kind of going more so in favor of Liquid than anything else. In the mid lane, we see that Korok is just destroying on the Shadow Fiend, completely annihilating his opponent. 20 Necromastery charges, that's capped out. That's straight up. He's going for raises now because it's so much better, but in general, is that point in stats? I'd be surprised, but wouldn't be the first time. Either way, Bulba putting some pressure out here versus Mania, and I think he's going to have a bit more control over the lane now that's pushing Do back and forth, but neither one of them losing too much experience. We see that they're both pretty well up there. Actually, Bulba doing extremely well right now, 415. So he's in a great spot. He already has his hook shot, and from there can just keep on putting that damage pressure out. Win for this build before, 2-1-2. Now he's going to go for 4-1-2, and we'll see how it plays on out. But interesting to note, the Clockwork, oh, he's looking for that hook shot. If he gets a rocket and then a hook shot, that is 1 dead bounty, 100%. But we'll have to see if it actually works out that way, if Mania is going to play it safe enough. Pops off the salve, rocket, not going to come just yet, and Bulba, unfortunately, going to let him have it. TC coming on in. They have vision of this. Rise going for that telekinesis. No, it's a rank 2 Reality Rift. Too much range, too much damage, and Rise gets picked off once more. More money, more experience on the board for TeamLiquid in general, but TC heading out the pack, now looking for some... Ooh, gank. Nice play there. Anyway, sorry about that. I didn't actually catch the Nature's Prophet teleporting down on bottom. But yeah, the CK is going to be able to pick up treads or something along those lines. Put a big pressure out. Nice Sentry Ward. They saw the Invis Room picked up. They respond appropriately and gives Fluff a free kill, despite the invisible Reality Rift that was impending for them. Down on bottom lane, that pickoff on Bulba, it just was unfortunate. He didn't have a creep wave to hookshot to, and Miguel coming on in with a good TP, good sprout, good damage coming on through. And although they didn't get a track kill for it, I don't believe, it was effective enough for them to bring him down quickly and, yeah, drop down that experience just a little bit here and there, setting up Bounty Hunter nicely. looks like they're putting more eggs in one basket towards the mid lane now. They're kind of seeding the top lane. They realize that they don't have too much control over that position there, and soon enough throughout the entire map as Wisp is closing in on that level 6. But right now, just going for Korok and trying to force him down with his TP. They should be able to close the distance. Actually popping off the reverse polarity. Not sure if that's the right move, but Korok most certainly will fall. That's for sure. And he does get dropped down there. But he did have one tango, so I guess the tether wouldn't be... Oh, big damage coming on through. 2-second stun on Rise, trying to finish him off, but instead the Omni Slash and the Fade Bolt bringing him low enough. Big Soul Assumption will finish off Rubik, but Ix Mike tethering through, not enough with the attack range from Miggle. Shockwave up the cliff from Miracle. Getting a triple kill in the end. Miggle just right-clicking down and cleaning things up nicely. So that was a total of 4 kills for 1. Easily an exchange that Absolute Legends will take to the bank, and they're going to come out much better off. Yeah, they were pretty much equal, and now dropping down, they're going to have a 2k advantage moving forward. Korok looking to reclaim some of those lost souls, but we'll see if that'll work out for him long term. Either way, long time for Magnus if he wants to go for that Blink Dagger Rush, but most likely we'll just sustain out with some Arcane Boots here and there. Coming back out, he was really poor off previously, but now he's in an okay position. With those kills, with those assists online, he's able to move in and get a little bit more sustained mana, move back and forth, maybe even try to contest a rune. But Korok doing a great job at the 50-second mark, pushing out the wave 100%, and now dodging out the aggression coming through, but Nature Prophet porting back on in, puts him in a bad spot, the skewer misses, and the telekinesis throws him back safely under tower. Can pop off that regen rune and go for a direct contest here. The relocate is not up on the Wisp yet, though, and they cannot follow on through. They really want to. Bulba hookshot, hits on Miggle, brings him down, and with the battery assault, he can't TP out. So he's just going to stand there, throw a couple right clicks that direction, but that was a beautiful pick off from Bulba. Just getting the vision, knowing what he needed to, and following through from there. In the meantime, TC up on top lane, helping the Wisp move in towards that relocate. When Ix Mike has that up, it's pretty much no holds barred. Now looking for Mania, they don't have any detection, and Unicorn coming in. No Omni Slash, but enough to focus down the Wisp here. The creep wave not coming, there's nothing to tether to, and he's just going to get bursted down by the Janata Slow and the spin itself. So good rotation. Bounty Hunter using the track to make sure they can get as much money on the board as possible. So that'll help them out nicely here as he continues to participate more and more actively throughout these exchanges. Shadow Fiend looking for the Magic Wand, but it's kind of anybody's guess as far as what he'll follow up with. Going for a BKB, going for the Jerome Yasha build. I mean, there's so many different ways to build it here, and Korok has pretty much run them all. He definitely likes to be flexible in that regard, but they might feel they have enough initiation with the Clockwork and with the Relocate from the Wisp to really just go for a hardcore movement / DPS build, so he doesn't really have to rely on Blink BKB to start things off. Either way, we do see a smoke coming on through from TeamLiquid. They want to put the pressure out really quickly, and it seems that Unicorn is going to be the target of choice. Running on through the top lane, Fearless in that sense, and Familiars are smoked up too, so they are ready to rock and roll if necessary. Unicorn has his spin, or he has his Omni Slash, but he doesn't have both, and I don't think either will be what he needs to get on out of this position here. Getting picked off. Oh no, they do get the spin off, but it's still just going to delay things as he can drop very quickly. And a couple right clicks, and the Reality Rift will finish it off, and TC even picks off that healing ward before falling back from there. Bulba on the mid lane with Korok. The TP comes on in, but it is cancelled on through. Don't really want to commit to that fully with 2 versus 2 situations. Instead, say, okay, they're all up on top lane, let's push it. Okay, Migla's just trolling me now. Either way, could be looking to push, could be looking to gank. He has options open, is pretty much what he's looking for. Bulba TPing down bottom though, Rocket and Root, but not going to change too much here. Up on top, the tower dropping quickly. Ix Mike with that relocate could easily make something happen, but needs to be looking towards some detection. Ix Mike is going to be the one that's closest to the action every second of every day. Now relocating on mid, helping out Korok. He already wasted the RP, and they can go crazy on this team fight, just destroying everything, using all their abilities. Omni Slash finishes off Ix Mike, but it's not enough to actually pursue on any other kills. And Fluff, saving that Soul Assumption, wants it, and he will get it. Bringing him down. One more right click from the Familiars should do the trick. But back on the mid, it's Rise dueling it out, finishing off Fluff. And there's the Router Rift with the vision to finish off that. Korok dropping low from the tower, but still surviving. Toglin is willing to even go for some more souls, but has to really watch himself with Mania here. And the fact that Nature's Prophet is only 7 seconds away. If that track came on out, if Mania got the track on the Nature's Prophet, that Wrath of Nature could easily finish off Korok. But he wasn't able to close the distance, and instead, they're going for a counter. No, he TP's in. He looks for the kill. He finds out the opportunity on Shadow Fiend and gets the last right click. Nice action from Bulba, though, trying to turn this around a little bit. Gets them both in cogs under the familiars. 1 stun, 2 stun. Miggle is down. Mania next. All they need is a little bit more detection. Miracle is in the fray, but without that reality reverse polarity, he can miss the shockwave to bring down the Chaos Knight. And instead, Miracle, the target of choice, with absolutely real no hope of escape. Just in the long run, IX Mike is going to give the movement speed to the friggin' familiar to make sure that he can stay close enough and get the right clicks on in. Has plenty of charges left on that attack damage bonus, but they don't want to go too far. A Miracle just pretty good movement speed and has that skewer coming up in 5 seconds. So actually, to my surprise, escapes on out. They just didn't have any follow-up after the fact. Either way, that was interesting exchanges there. Good move from Miggle to pick off the Shadow Fiend, and though it did cost him his life, they also got the pick off on the CK, who is otherwise uncontested. He's actually sitting now at 2, 3, and 8, so they need to keep those kills racking up on both the core heroes of Team Liquid. Fluff Centurion on through, good pick up there. Korok refilling on his souls, needs to move back towards 36, but Rise trying to pull him back on into things. Not enough time though, even with the skewer up. They go for the TP in, the relocate follows up through, they go for the tether, immediately tangles on out. Instead the tether stun interrupts everything, reverse polarity onto 2 of them. Actually just a familiar and TC trying to burn things down. No, they actually get the kill on the Magnus, looking to pull Unicorn out and finish him off as well. Great fight for them. Just perfect timing of the relocate, and there's not much more to say about that except for Bulba jumping on in with another hook. Jumping on in and making sure that every single kill caused that much more. And so, Absolute Legends jump on in, thought they had something, but with the RP landing only on TC, who's pretty darn tanky with these Treads, Magic Wand Bracer combo, and the fact that he's level 9, is able to just tank on through it. Korok was able to escape nicely, and from there, they just didn't have the team fight to follow up. Good relocate. Follow up across the board was very solid. And, you know, if you're contesting a Visage directly when those Soul Substance can just keep on flying, it's a 4-second cooldown, people. It's just so much damage if he has mana available, and as such, it's just really not been working out for them thus far. It looks like Miggle is looking for that mech. The question is whether or not it will be a lot more delayed. They get that damage on through, but the familiars coming across for the stone form to interrupt it. Looking for the second one. Mania gets stunned as well, but they have the TPs to follow up. Tether down the cliff. TC and IX Mike walk away at the cost of a couple TP scrolls, but of course not finding their own kill. And it looks like this familiar out of luck at this stage, and it's immediately summoned up by Fluff. I guess he could have probably done that before the bounty actually dropped down, but either way. Relocate on mid, trying to put some pressure out on Mania and Miracle alike. Getting the stun off means he is dead 100%. Korok with a Shadow Blade doing a ton of damage, and Mania might drop as well. They're trying to close the distance. He has the drum charge active to keep him going, and unfortunately Bulba, oh no, he hooks on Unicorn. I thought he hit on an ally, but instead finding an easy kill on a Juggernaut who just tried to spin and TP to no avail. Rise slowed down with that Grave Chill, bursted down hard with the Soul Assumption. Wow, fail. Either way, Rise in vision, gonna get just DPS'd on through, and that's yet another kill on board. A lot of tracks down, though. They have full vision of what's going on, and if they could get some buybacks, they could easily pick up a couple kills here, but they're just not willing to risk that or don't have the funds to. Actually, looking back at it, Dire has no buybacks available. For early skirmishes, it's generally a must, and in this situation, they just can't commit as much to the fights as Liquid has been, and that's much to their favor. Down bottom, Miggle pushing in with that Bassi, gonna be able to bring down the tier 1 and get a little bit more gold on board, but the question is, will it be enough? Right now, the Team Liquid had a 4K gold advantage. Bringing that back in just below 3K soon, that will help them out a decent amount, but again, I'm just not sure if it'll be enough. This Chaos Knight Wisp combo is all about steamrolling, all about starting off with big momentum and following through with bigger and better items. Now that Korok's picked up a Shadow Blade, which is just a great item, it's so him. Korok jumps in with early aggression, early movement speed, attack damage, and tries to get in a good position to do some just wreak some havoc across the board. Going for a Requiem, gonna cancel it out, and in a bad spot, the track comes on through. They need some retaliation, but the relocate is gonna be too slow. Korok gets caught out by himself, and that was just a huge mistake. Sees Unicorn, thinks he could bring him down, but we gotta remember, it's only a rank 2 Requiem, it's 36 souls, but it would probably only bring Unicorn down to about 20-25% HP, even right on top of him, and from there he can generally phase away. So I think that Korok was just a little bit too cocky there, and it might cost them yet another tower. He did have buyback last I checked. Might want to commit here, but I don't really think he has the opportunity. Bulba out of position. CK Wisp in the fray, looking for that RP. Miracle gets it on IX Mike alone. Instead, TC comes in with Phantasms, doing tons of damage across the board. Fight separated by Bulba and those cogs, and just skewering TC on out to delay the damage, but Miggle will get caught out, drop down in his own Sprout, and now Mania, the target of choice, they're going to finish him off as well. Nice stone forms from Fluff. And they can't follow up further, or I keep on saying that, and then Bulba surprises me, but not finding his opening this time around.
Boom, there it goes.
Either way, kills on the board, 12 for Fluff. Fluff and Stuff is sitting 12 kills, 9 assists, only 16 minutes into a game. That is ridiculous. He has a hood, he's going for a pipe. This early on, it's just so powerful. Clockwork already has that mech. I haven't even gotten a chance to talk about items, really. Miggle did finish up that mechanism, fueled by the Midas, he was able to acquire it, but in general, it's just not been enough. Just not been enough. Alright then. So yeah, Boba has his mechanism, allows him to jump in those fights so much more aggressively, helps TC keep those Phantasms up, and with that armlet coming forth for them, that extra 25 strength will help them so much in dishing out the damage they want to, and it's getting worse and worse for AL as we speak. Man, that's so many kills. Fluff and Stuff actually has a GPM on a Visage of 338, and that's gonna be really putting it back the other way. Actually, they realized they had vision. They're probably gonna look to Sentry out, but it looks like IX Mike is coming up short in that regard. Doesn't want to commit a dust to nothing, and instead, it looks like Mania's just gonna get a track on as they walk away. Putting in damage in the tier 1, but they're not gonna be able to follow up on this fully. With the reverse polarity coming up in just 20 seconds, it's hard to say, but it looks like they have enough damage, and they know that there are 2 up top. So knowing that, they're gonna counter push up on the top lane here, and Relocate comes on in. Miracle has to skewer immediately, but IX Mike is by himself. The tether did not stick, and instead IX Mike gonna get a little bit of eyeballing done from Miggle and Miracle, but not really following on through. Visage on the bottom lane though, helping pick off the Bounty Hunter here and getting yet another kill for Fluff. And that's just him walking in under presumably the Dust of Appearance. No, I mean, I really don't know. Yeah, it was Dust. Okay, so Bounty Hunter getting a little in over his head, trying to get yet another track off. He got it, but at what cost? Sorry, Twitch mods, yet again, at what cost? Because Bounty Hunter just jumping on in, and Mania feeding away yet another kill. We see it 2, 3, and 3, compared to the 13, 2, and 9 Visage, which I just can't get over. Like, I know he's strong, I know he can clean up so well with Soul Assumption, but Visage has fallen on hard times of late. He's great in a tri-lane versus tri-lane, but a lot of the times the players just don't know how to really utilize him so effectively. Fluff is not one of those players. He is so very aggressive, is always where he needs to be. He doesn't get a free taxi ride to a global fight, he's just always there. And so where we see this global presence with CK getting 16, 17 assists and only 1 to 3 kills, Fluff is always there despite that and getting so much across, and now going in for his rank 2 ultimate. Just pretty ridiculous, honestly. Bounty Hunter looking for a BKB, but it's going to be a long time coming. Same thing for Miracle finding his Blink Dagger. That is big. That is what he's been waiting for all game long, but 19.5 minutes. It's been a little bit too long time coming. Unicorn building up a drum phase build, mostly going for the Yasha after the fact. We'll see how that works out for him, but Shadow Fiend kind of mirroring that a little bit. Doesn't go for the durability of the drums, but with the attack burst and the movement speed of the Shadow Blade, he can go anywhere he wants so quickly. Already at 396 without that early boost, and from there, getting a 20% increase on top of that. Gonna do a lot. Easy deny for TeamLiquid, and it just really cements their advantage here as we see that Absolute Legends has less and less opportunities to bounce back. Nature's Prophet risking himself that much more when he tries to push down on a tier 2 tower rather than a tier 1. And getting that deny out here means that Nature's Prophet, despite his Midas, is really limited as far as how much he can pursue for getting big items, for getting big gold. Holla get dollar is his style in general, but looking at the dollars are falling short. 413 GPM is not where you want to be on a Nature's Prophet who generally had free farm in the jungle. He's getting good utility items, got the mechanism, moving in towards Ag for some push, counter push, but it's just not working out for them as far as those skirmishes go. I've said this over and over, but I think that Absolute Legends needs to get an amazing fight if they're going to turn things around. And Shadow Fiend having a double damage is not really going to be a good start for that. Armlet up for CK. Again, that is a nice bonus of over 25 strength well, 25 strength, and then a bunch of different other advantages that apply to the main Chaos Knight himself. But either way, it's going to be allowing him to just fight that much more effectively. On top of the fact that they have a pipe and a mech, those Phantasms won't be dying. They take double damage, but they deal full. And if they can just survive, they have so much potential. Miracle getting stunned up for 3 seconds after that tether, following it on through, they get enough burst to finish him off. And now this team fight is just completely disadvantageous. Mania pull back on in. The pipe up means they can accomplish nothing. And they even have the double damage Shadow Fiend to pursue on through. Unicorn trying to juke hard, but he is, even with the track movement speed, he's going to have a difficult time of it. Bubba looking for that hook. Not gonna pro it up this time around, but he definitely has his moments. Now looking at bottom. They're going to go for Miggle right here with the router, pulling him back in. That should be 100% dead profit. He does actually get dropped down. No opportunity really. He didn't even use the mechanism, but knew he couldn't really change his fate one way or another. Instead, popping off even more of that money for the buyback here, committing actually 646 gold for it, and now in desperate situation.
Boom, there it goes. With me.
So we see Juggernaut actually going for a vitality booster. Is that a Vanguard Juggernaut? Like, that's, I mean, if there's any sign of somebody being really far behind and scared for every single engagement going forward, it's got to be a Vanguard on a Juggernaut. Just picking something like that up, it gives him good survivability, but he really, like his the fact that he has an Omni Slash, which gives him immunity for a huge amount of time, 6 jumps, as auto attacks in between, that he's supposed to be DPSing. And he is DPSing, but not as much as he wants to be, because the Empower is really his only damage buff right here. Phase Boots only does so much, and a few damage here and there. I think it's plus 12 from the drum in total. It's not really what he needs. So the fact that he's immune for 6 jumps and an Omni Slash and still feels the need to go for that Vanguard is putting him in a desperate situation. Going for the Roche, I feel this is a great move from them because they have the Healing Ward, they have the Prophet's Trance, and they can bring this down quickly. Putting this up on... I almost feel like Miracle should pick it up. I know the carry is the traditional role, but in this situation, Miracle is the focus target every single time. He can't get that reverse polarity off. We do see it picked up by the Juggernaut. We'll see how Unicorn can use it, and he does finish off that Vanguard as well, bring his HP up to 1426. But I gotta say, if Miracle gets picked off again, the teamfight is going to be a wash one way or another. Force Staff up on Clockwork, can do his cheeky little play with his cogs, as well as a lot of mobility for some pro initiations, getting good vectors off by jumping in positions they didn't predict, and from there, just getting powerful hooks across the board. Either way, we're going to be seeing Korok moving in for that Day Dallas Fearless right now, as he has absolutely no HP items. He has Treads, which he can switch back to Strength. He has a Magic Wand. That's about it. No BKB, and no care. Like, he can get telekinesis up and he might get bursted down, but more likely he's just going to be able to deliver huge amounts of right-click damage with the presence of the Dark Lord, with the Shadow Blade, and the crit. So he's playing Admiral Kunkka Shadow Fiend right here, and it's paid off thus far, so I can't really complain. Here we do see the Smoke of Deceit coming on out. They're going to flank in through the jungle, try to, of course, put some kills on the board, but they're so far behind right now. 190 CS for the Shadow Fiend. We also see the 13 kills for the... Visage. Now we do see a nice initiation onto TC after the Phantasm comes on through. They burst him hard, but he just gets relocated out. It will most likely cost IX Mike his life, but they disengage, keeping the CK, and all he's spent is his ultimate. So CK will stay safe and sound. IX Mike, unless they want to go on this, they bring him back. They actually are going to go on through with a big Requiem going across. Big damage. Vania dropping quick. Huge Requiem from Shadow Fiend. Miggle going to get just shredded entirely, and that Aegis is dropped. Another time where the RP is not going to be, well, in this case they did use it, it just was to no real benefit of their own. And I would not be 100% survived if the GG just came out. Because TC, oh my gosh, so much damage. They pulled him back on in, they're like, okay, well we can follow this up. We've won every single fight before, they reverse polarities on cooldown, and although they're ready for a Wisp at the very least to jump back on in, they had all 5 heroes there. Again, right place, right time for Visage, and Clockwork has that range of initiation built in. So when Korok was there with the Requiem, it suddenly made it so they could completely tear that fight apart. Now we see a Gem of True Sight up on Visage, and, you know, if you don't have map control, you don't have vision of the people initiating on you, there's very limited options going on forward. Miracle dueling it out, and despite like 8 creeps taking up the battery assault, he still feels he's comfortable to keep this going. And he can actually like cogs them away and then Force Staff forward, but he does have to watch out for Miggle, who pops off that mech, and now Bulba has to run for the hills. He does actually cog away, but Miracle's going to take some damage. He actually can hookshot him here and kill him anyways. And now they're going to go in. The cavalry has arrived, quite literally, with TC jumping on in on his super death pony and just being able to mega kill streak away. Just getting a quick kill on the Nature's Prophet, shredding his insides, eviscerating him completely, and going in for the kill, going in for these tier 3s. Oh my gosh, this has been a very, very destructive game to watch. Click TeamLiquid on the ball on this one here, using the Wisp, CK, plays that draft so nicely. And I gotta say, from the beginning, drafting up a team like this, even picking up a ballsy hero like Shadow Fiend, and then playing him as aggressive as you possibly can, it's not really cost them whatsoever. This is so awesome. Alright, so Unicorn trying to do a little bit of counter push action. No Battle Fury to help him out here. A lot of creep block though, without Phase Boots. I think this relocate might be a dud. Yeah, Unicorn's just gonna walk away here. They have some vision with the spirits. They could technically go in. They see him right here, but they're already gone. They've said, okay, screw it. And Unicorn's just gonna TP away after getting a couple of hits. Oh, okay. He really wanted those creeps. I'm not sure. But we do see Nature's Prophet down bottom with the Bounty Hunter as well. They're going to go 2-man on this tower, but it's not going to be nearly as fast as this impending creep wave pushes in to negate the backdoor protection and allow Liquid to go in for the high ground, to go in for the tier 3s with all cooldowns available except for relocate. And I think they definitely can take this. That might be one of the biggest understatements I've had thus far, but they are in a great position to be able to control this position. And after the fortification is down, they're going to go in hard. Miracle going in. He actually skewers away. Oh, that skewer. I feel bad about that. It was a great RP. Could have pulled him into the base further, followed up with the telekinesis, but no. He skewers them as far out of danger as possible, so that all it is a little cluster mechanism that doesn't have any response. It does delay a bit. They are actually going to go for a base trade here, but the racks are falling too quickly. They can TP back from here, relocate up, and you actually used immediately, jumping in on Miggle, trying to focus him down with a 4-second stun. Amazing that he can hit it amongst all the creeps, but he does manage it. Miggle with a mech will survive for a moment, but is very, very quickly cut short with that Soul Assumption. TC left behind to bring down Mania, and though there is an Omnislayer from Unicorn, the racks have fallen on top lane, and the bottom ones should be able to survive from here. So Unicorn taking some hits, TC actually taking a lot as well. Miggle bot back, jumping on in. They need these racks if they want to stay in this game. They 100% need this, and they're going to go all the way for it. Fortification unavailable, TP coming on back from Korok. Looking for some big right-click damage, bring down Unicorn quickly, but the melee have fallen. Nice crit coming on through, but he still has 300 left. Bulba with the easy cleanup. I mean, that's the perfect positioning for him to be in, and 100% double kill. Nice movement there. It was a long walk back to base without the TP scroll, but once he got there, once he pretty much forced himself, I think, into this position here, it was easiest hook of his life to jump on in and finish things off. However, they did lose their melee, and that's something that they didn't necessarily need to drop. They were very confident in their own potential to bring down those racks very quickly, and I did like their movement in general. But the fact that they couldn't really seal the deal on one of those kills, and the follow-up came on through with that buyback from the Nature's Prophet, they still got the racks, and I gotta say, in general, Absolute Legends made the best of a bad situation. Now we do see Axamite jumping in with the Chaos Knight up on top, but Miracle with that Link and with that Skewer can go for the TP here. No, too quick of damage. He gets tethered up with the reality, and despite using all of his tools, despite running 2,400 units away before TPing out of line of sight, there's just no escape. These guys will follow you to the grave. They have a drum, Manta style, treads, and tether, bringing Chaos Knight's movement speed to ridiculous quantities, and from there he will always be able to chase you down. And yeah, we see that 513 out of 522 for the maximum. He can just cruise on as if he had a haste rune all day long, and it's just too much. Do see a little bit of cheeky backdoor pushing going in from Miggle, trying to put damage in this tier 2, but you know, that's really just delaying the creep waves that follow up towards the mid, which, by the way, the tier 3 has already fallen. I actually don't think I covered that, but you know, they put the pressure out there while they had the chance, and Rise, no, just not really his opportunity there at all. If they got a good spell steal on something, like a Requiem or, I don't know, it's hard. It's really difficult, but either way. I said that I'm Thorn Rings going on through. They have pushed down towards the bottom. They can go for the tier 4, but with the backdoor protection up, that's not going to help out too much. Funny play by Mania, but it's just not going to be possible. And instead, Bulba is the only one here, but now the relocate coming on along with the hook shot. Miguel going to drop quickly. They did get a pick off on Rubik in the mid base. Did he buy back or something? Yeah, they killed him twice. Anyways, buyback from Magnus coming on through, but Mania going to drop before that even registers, really. Blink up on Juggernaut. He's pretty mobile. He can at least dodge out Bulba's sick hooks, so happy about that. But, you know, from there, Fluff and IX Mike just holding the front line. Pushing down on the melee racks, taking care of that. Now looking for these ranged, and with that, the game, presumably. I feel Absolute Legends are in pretty good sports, having a little bit of fun with it here and there, but it's gotta, I mean, honestly, it was a pretty big stomp. Liquid just talking it to them with that draft, okay? They're like, they let them ban out the Nyx and the Coddle, but they left, by banning out the Gyrocopter and Bat, they left that Wisp open. Started that off nicely, taking the Clockwork, the CK, the Wisp. They had a huge gank, train, rolling line up, blinks away. That's so silly. Now Bulba, trying to close in the distance. He has that 4-staff, and he just used the hookshot. Melee range. That is the sickest hookshot I've ever seen, but yeah, close proximity finishes him off. Now Unicorn is going to try to duel it out alongside Miguel, but Miguel mechs and runs. He's the mech and run guy. He's just going to be like, okay, screw it. And with those spirits giving vision, there's another hookshot from the Aghanim Scepter Clockwork. So Miguel, not his day either. And he's just going to keep on trying to run. There's actually no stuns to follow up if he tried to teleport right now, but Bulba getting his hookshot in 3. Nice tether from IX Mike. Going on the creep wave. Didn't even think about it. Nice move there. In the meantime, TC cleaning up on the base. Just bringing out whatever he can. No detection, but yeah, no towers either. So it's not really a concern one way or another. Reality Rift stolen. Rise going to jump in with big... Oh, that's actually TC's Reality. Cleaning things up nicely. Mania dropping. Rise. Oh, big crit. And that's going to be it. So this was Game 3 of this Best of 3 series. As we see, it's just a massacre at this stage. And Fluff going to be the only casualty in the long term. Almost does something there, Bulba, but no. Anyways, this is going to drop quickly, but I want to do, before this ends, I want to remind you guys that we have a segment called Ask the Pros coming on after the fact. We'll be bringing in one of the guys from Team Liquid to talk about this match. Again, this was a best of 3 series. This was Game 3, but in this situation, 1 game for Liquid, 1 game for Absolute Legends, and now this Game 3, making it so that Liquid takes the series 2-1. So nice action from them. We will be having one member of Team Liquid come on in just a couple of minutes. On the stream. Sorry, I obviously can't have them really on Dota TV very effectively, but if you guys jump on the stream, which is twitch.tv/the Premier League, you will be able to not only hear his thoughts on the game, whoever I do bring in, but also get the opportunity to ask questions directly to them. Just jump on the chat, and there will be a point in time where I ask for those, and you'll get the opportunity to, if you have good questions, I'll definitely field them his way. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a fun game to cast. Got a little bit clowny at the very end, but you know, it's fun. I can break up my sarcasm a little bit there. Either way, nice action in the end. Liquid takes it 2-1 against Absolute Legends. It was just a really good game, and drafting up a Chaos Knight, Clockwork, Wisp, and Visage. What could be better for Team Liquid here? The Shadow Fiend was nice too. No offense to Korok at all. It was really well done as well. He was able to. He didn't die. I mean, he only died 4 times, no matter how aggressive his item build was. So that was awesome. Either way, Team Liquid taking the win. That's going to be Blaze signing off as far as a professional cast go. But again, twitch.tv/the Premier League. We're going to have Ask the Pros in a few minutes.